All right, welcome back. We are Game 2007. That's Multiplayer Game Design 1 in the winter 2026 semester. And it is week 4, part 3 of our broadcast and recording. And then the last part, what we were talking about is creating a pickup, basic pickup, and testing how, kind of the stats work. So I'm going to go back down to where we were, which is 35. Now we had this base pickup, but what I want to do is I want to create 2 more pickups to demonstrate this. One is going to be a gold coin, and the other one is going to be a silver coin. So let's do that. So I'm going to make a child blueprint class of the base pickup class. So the way to do that is go into pickups, right click, and go create child blueprint class. Now you've seen me do that before, and we're going to call this one, if I go back to the PowerPoint, the gold coin pickup. There we go. So here is the child class, gold coin pickup. Gold coin pickup is going to look like it's a gold coin, so we can change the color. So we're going to say MI, so that's material instance gold. We'll use that gold coin. There it is. And then the other thing we want to do with this pickup is it's going to give us 5 XP instead of 1. That's one thing that's going to give us. There's 5 XP. It's compile and save. So that's the only difference between a gold coin and a base pickup. And then the other one we want to add in is a silver coin. Let's right click there, and we're going to add new child class. BP silver coin pickup, so 2 different kinds of things. Now this one's interesting. The way that the what I want to show you guys was the lighting in this game, this project. Sun Sky is really weird in terms of the way it works with materials. I found that it gives you some weird shadows and some other things that it does. It's positive and negative. Again, Sun Sky is something that you got to turn on. There's a kind of a plug-in you have to use for that. But anyways, let's go back to the silver, kind of coin. And just like before, I want the silver coin to give us more XP. So instead of 1, it's going to give us 3. And the pickup mesh we're going to use in this case is going to be MI underscore silver. Okay, metal. I believe it is metal. There we go. So there's metal. So one thing to note with these ones is they're not very metally, right? So in terms of stuff. So if you look at the material instances just for a second for some of these, right? So here's metal, and let's take a look at what metal is. So we have some global vector parameters. Here's a parameter for color. That's what that is. That's our color parameter. And our alpha transparency is 0. Right, for the color. That's the default way that it's been done. If I turn that alpha transparency on to higher values, you can go higher, you can see that it becomes different values. If I go 1 as an example, then it's fully opaque, as an example, instead of being transparent. I'm going to go back to 0 to show you the difference there. The other thing to look at is the base parent. Base is also a weird material. If I actually look at the material which is base here, there's base and base emissive. I'll come back to the base emissive in a second. Let's take a look at that base for a second. So base is got a base color of white. That's what it is. There's no metallic. Its specular is 0.5 and its roughness is 0.5. So there's things we can do here. You've learned how to do this to make it more, to make it a little bit shinier or whatever. So if you feel like the metal material is pretty dull, and I think it's dull, and if you think of the gold material as pretty dull, it's not really that shiny, and you want to make it shinier, you know what to do, right? Play with the roughness value and metallic values, and we can actually create those if you really want to modify these as parameters, right? So again, I can just add in something like a value like this, convert this to a parameter, let's just say, and we'll call this metallic. Here's metallic, now that it's a parameter. And we'll kind of put this in here, and we'll do the same thing with another one. So we'll make another parameter. All right, so convert this to a parameter. We'll call this specular. And we've done this before. We'll leave this at 0.5 to start off. All the default values, we'll replicate those. And roughness, those are the ones we need, right? Actually, maybe emissive as well, but we'll come back to that. So again, I'll just do 1. Convert to parameter, we'll call this roughness, and then we'll make that at 0.5 for now. That's the default. That handles all the default values for everything. If you don't modify anything, nothing changes with the way our game currently works. If I click apply and save, and if you've made those parameter values there we go, then I can close this off. If I go back to metal, I have all these parameters now, right? Here's all the other stuff that I have here, global scalar parameter values, right? Well, one thing I probably should do one more time to go back here. Again, just some minor differences. Let's associate these with a group. So my group, I'm going to make it, I'm going to call this, we'll call these properties. Here's properties, right? And I'll do the same thing with this one. I'll be part of the properties group, and to make it easier for us to find instead of global parameters or whatever. The other thing is this parameter here, which is base color. Let's rename this one. So instead of parameter, let's call this base color. Here's base color. And that'll also be part of the properties group. There we go. So it's all part of the same group, so we don't have to lose track of all that. Apply and save. That's a minor change we made to the material, but what it did was it opened up all these possibilities. So now if I want to go to metallic and I want to increase that value, then I can make it more metallic looking, you know, as an example, as opposed to what it was before. Same thing with roughness. I can bring that roughness, you know, way down and make it more metallic looking, right, as an example. Specularity I probably keep the same. So save, and now if I look at my metal, now it looks more like a metal, right, as opposed to what it looked like before. Blue metal, I don't know why it's called silver, but definitely a metal kind of thing that we have there before. We can make it more silver looking if you want to. All right, so why did I do that? Because I felt like it was, you know, ugly, and you know, you can fool around with those two things as well. But what I want to do now is I want to kind of get rid of those base pickups. Those are just testing values. So this is one, and here's another one. And let's bring in some gold coins. Actually, I'll probably make that a little change in a second, as well as some these silver or metal coins. That's what they are, right? Let's bring in a couple more. So I'll put one over here so we can kind of have a couple of objects here. And we'll move that kind of a little further out and maybe another one. Maybe another gold coin there. So a few gold coins, maybe a couple of these metal ones. Let's do the same thing for the metal one. I don't really like the metal thing, so we'll find it. Here it is. And then what we can do is we can change. The base color is okay, but the metallic, I think it should be, there should be some metallic value to the gold color, and definitely less roughness because it's a metal, right? So kind of like a real gold. Kind of looks more like brass, but whatever. You know, and now I've got these two pickups. There we go. And now you can see that they're a little nicer than they were before. They're closer to being. I can make them really shiny if I want to, but I'm not going to do that. All right, so then now that I've got those in there, here we go. Let's press play and see what happens with our characters. So again, I wander over, and if I go to this one, you can see I got 5 XP, and I get this one, I get 3 XP, and I got this one. Wait, I leveled up. Why did I level up? And I can see that I'm faster now than I was before because I got 13 XP, and my next level is 10, right? Now if I pick up the other ones, I won't level up yet. 5 more and another 3 because I don't have a lot. So I've total picked up all those. How much did I pick up? If I go to state, and if I look at that, and if I look at character state 0, I've got 13 XP, right? And I'm still character level 1. Okay. So that's something that's interesting. Should I have been character level 2 by now? You know, that's the question that we should ask. I leveled up to the next level. What happened there? And then character state 1, I'm at 1, but this should show character level 2, not character level 1. Okay? So there's some issues. That's one thing we didn't have a chance to check. So let's go back to the state and see what happened there with character level. So again, remember how we did this. Character level up was done on the actual item. So the add XP is right here. Okay, so this is where all that stuff happens. And I kind of say this: if my XP is greater than my next level, which was what happened. We saw the level up. Then a bunch of stuff happens. So level up, and then character level increments, right? And then what I say is update the character stats with this character level. Remember that question I had before where is it actually leveling up? should it be showing me level 2 or whatever? Like, what's going on here? How come this is not doing its thing? So remember what I said was, does the increment value work? That's the thing. Well, let's make sure before we do any changes, let's see that this is not the culprit right here, as an example, because we want to make sure that that's also true, right? Things to note. Sorry, just want to deal with this dog. Is that if I click on update character stats, we can see that when the character level makes sense. So character level is here, and depending on what the character level is, and then we can increase our stuff. So it actually worked. The character level did work. It's just that the character stats themselves didn't increase my level, like my actual character stats on my, in my game state, right? So that was weird, right? And I'm pointing this out because this is the stuff that happens, my friends, with networking. Okay, so let's do the next little test. So what if I replace this increment operator instead of doing that with character level, and I want to add in 1. So character level plus 1. Here it is. Character level plus 1, and then what I want to do is I want to take character level and I want to set it with notify. Okay, remember that? Set it with notify to this. So this is like character level is equal to character level plus 1. That's what it means. Instead of character level plus plus. Will this make any difference? So compile and save. And then if I press play, and let's use that same idea. So I'm going to take my dude, and he's going to run around, and he's going to pick up all the coins here. 1, 2, 3. He leveled up. And now, if I go back to my player state 0, it shows player state 0 is 0 and character level 1, but player state 1 is 19 and character level 1. Oh man, what happened? How come I'm still character level 1? And I'm not character level 2. Did I do something wrong? Well, let's take a look where else I'm dealing with it, right? So here's character level, right? Character level starts off at 1, right? So it should have updated to 2. What happened? Like, how come it's not showing me character level 2, right? As an example. And so this is the stuff that we have to troubleshoot to make sure it works. So we're going to get back to this, but I want to point out to you that both things, and I've set these up for you to see, both of these things right now, whether you're doing it this way, because this set with notify calls the on-rep character level. That's what this does. So character level basically calls the delegate. That's what it does. Okay, that's what this does. But at the same time, add XP, which is the function we're using, right, checks to see if this happens. So this passed. We said that XP is greater than this. Let's add some more coins here to see that effect. So I'm going to add some more coins here, right? And again, this is all testing, so we're going to do a couple more coins. The 5 coins are easier to test because we're going to basically be able to level up quicker this way. And let's try this now. So again, using my main character, run around, and let's pick up some coins. So I'm going to pick up all the ones that are 5. 1, 2, I leveled up, right, as an example. And I'm going to go back and I'm going to continue to pick up coins and level up again. Okay, so now I've leveled up twice, and I should be way faster than I was before, right? So what happened? Let's take a look. So again, what I like to do is check out both of these player states. Player state 0 is level 3. Huh, there it is. And player state 1 is level 1. So now it worked. What? I don't understand. How can it work this time but didn't work before? So a couple of things about this, right? So 30 points. Let's just make sure that this is right. So let's count the coins I picked up. I only picked up the gold coins. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is exactly right. 6 times 5 is 30. So 30 points. My data table, if I look at the structs here, here's my data table. And notice that the next level to go to from level 2 to level 3 is 25 points. So if I just had 25 points, I should be able to go to level 3. Okay, 25 points, greater than 25 points, level 3. 10 points, greater than 10 points is level 2. Okay, that's what it means. Okay, so 10 points is the next level. That's the thing to note here. And that's when that thing triggers, when I'm just greater. If I had 11 points, I'd be level 2. That's what it would be. Okay, so let's check this out. So again, save, and let's try this out. So this is worth 3 points. This is worth 5 points. This is worth 5 points. 10 and 3 is 13. That should get me to level 2. Right, let's try this out. So if I press play, just those 3 coins, and if I run over, that one, this one, and now it says level up. There it is. And then if I check my game state, I'm at 13 points. I'm a level 2. That's good. It worked, right? And if I pick up the other ones, that's 18 points, right? That's 23 points. You can see it's going up now. And if I get the next one, 28, I've leveled up again, because now I'm beyond level 25 points. I'm level 3. So it's working. Right? It wasn't working before somehow. Let's also test for the other character. We should always test for both characters. So this is this one. And this is important to test because this is the one that we always worry about, this character right here. We also should test the stats. So I pick up some points. That's 3 points. That's 5 points. That's 8. And 5 is 13. I've leveled up. Okay, so that means that this one's leveled up 13 points, as an example, which is correct, right? And then I pick up the other ones, this one, and this one, and I level up again. You can see I've got 26 points. I just went over the 25 points, and I've leveled up to 3. Now we should check the stats, right? The stats can be found on the character, not the player state. So again, going back to the character, right? There's 2 characters. There's character 0, which is this guy, and that's the guy actually, and character 1 is my main character. So character 0 is this guy. And if we look at the character stats, so if I go to character here, and I'll look at the character stats, here's the character stats right here, 300, 900, 1.2, 50, and 2. That's looks pretty good. Let's make sure. That's 300. It's here, level 3. So we actually did change stats. And that's the kind of stuff that we want to see, my friends. Make sense? This is the way we test. So definitely there was a bug. I think we fixed it with taking away the plus, the increment, because it didn't show the proper level. And I think that's something that you should keep in mind. You should always test everything. The other one last test we should do is when we do both. So I'm just going to do the same thing, but this time I'll do it with both characters. So here's the first character. I'm going to pick up a level. There we go, leveled up, and I'm going to just back up here. Then go to the other character and pick up some other. Let's make this a little bigger so we can see it. Go to the other character here, and let's pick up the other stuff. So more coins than this guy. So he's struggling. He's going over to this coin. Picks some stuff. He gets some more things, and picks up some more, and more and more. And now he's leveled up, and he's faster than he was before. Yay! Now let's see what they are. So character 0 is the blue character. Character 0. Character 0 picked more coins up than character 1. We know that this is probably going to be state 1. So if I go to state, and if I go to state 1, right, character level is 2, right, and total XP is 23, right? And if I go to state 0, character level is 2, and XP's total is 13. There you go. We're almost to level 3, the other guy, but not quite. He didn't quite make it. So we can see that they've both got differences, right? And now the trick is, can we show this in a user interface? So this is the next thing that we'll build. Okay. Questions around what I was just doing? Any, kind of. Hopefully you guys get this. Let's build a HUD. So for this, when we're building a HUD, again, I want to make a new user interface folder. That's where I want to put it. So. Or make a HUD folder in the blueprints folder. Let's do that. So in the blueprints folder, I'll make a new folder called HUD. There we are. Inside that HUD folder, I want to make a new widget blueprint. So here's user interface widget blueprint. We'll make it a user widget, and it'll become WPP MP overlay, so multiplayer overlay. And we'll open that up. I want to add in a canvas, right, to the thing. Here's a canvas. And then the next thing I want to add in, yeah, I guess I could do that first. it's telling me to add some logic first, but in the widget blueprint. But that's weird. It's like I'm missing slides. I'm missing a bunch of slides, my friends. A ton of slides. A terrible amount of slides that I'm missing. Because we made our widget blueprint, but then, wow, what happened? I had like 50 slides in here. So I wonder what happened to that one. That's weird. I wonder if you guys got that one too, or if you guys got the better version. That's weird. Sorry about that. Let's take a look here. Well, my dog is being really annoying. I don't even know how that happened. How I lost slides. I've never done that before. You know, things just happen. You know, good things happen or bad things happen to good people, and you know that's how it goes, right? So let's take a look. I'm just see what I did. 1 second, my friends. Sorry, I'm just gonna check. Your slide the same as mine? Happens the best. Some mine had 43. Oh, okay. Well, that's okay. We can make up the difference. I'll just. Luckily, I don't know how that happened. Wow, it's bizarre how that happened. It's almost like I lost data for some reason. It must have been when I had to reboot my machine. That's really unfortunate. It really makes me angry. But it's okay, because the beautiful thing is I know what to do. It's basically creating our user interface, which I'm going to do. And that's why I always have backups of backups of backups. That's how it goes, my friends. So I have a backup somewhere else, but it's okay. For now, for today, I will fix that. But we're going to go into my other project, and I'm going to cheat a little bit because I have this project already done, and I'm just going to tell you what to do. So please try and follow along as best as possible, and then I will show you this stuff. And like I said, this makes me angry because there's a lot missing. Lots. There's like more like 50 slides. Okay, so I'll come back to that. Did I pull up the right one? Yes. So, as I said, we want 2 text blocks. Let's go back to what we're doing right now. So I want 2 text blocks. One on the left side and one on the right side. That's what I want. Okay. So the text block that I'm going to put in, again, it's whatever, but I'm not going to get mad. So here's my text block. So I'm going to put the text block up here. This is the first one. And this text block, you know, as an example, it's not really super important where it goes, but the values that I have for it are 100 and 100. Okay, and the position size is 40, which is good. I'm not changing anything else. That's where the text block is going to be. But what I want to do is call this XP label. XP label. Okay, and the XP label is going to be a variable, so that's important to do. And then what I want to do is I want to duplicate this. So duplicate that text block. There we go. And then we'll call this the character level label. So character level label. Character level label. Okay? And we'll take that character level label and we'll put it on the other side. And then the position that I have for this one is like a -300 and a 100. But with the anchor being the top right corner. -300. I'll be okay. -300. There we go. So on this side. Okay, so -300, 100, and then this one. I'm not changing the names because these are going to be changed as I go. And that's really all I had for these ones. Compile and save. Okay. Now the graph that I want to go to, and I think some of this was preserved here. Yeah. All right. So what I want to do here is I want to make a new event, a new custom event called onXPChanged event. So again, I can get rid of this for now, and add custom event, and then on XP changed, and then underscore event. Now there's the reason why I've named it this way with the event at the end is I want to make it so that I can identify my custom event. Okay. Now what I want to do is I want to show that this is going to happen, I want to put it up in the text. So I'm going to get the XP label. So here's my XP label. And I want to set text. Here it is, set text. And I want to connect those two things up. There we go. So there's my set text, right? And what I want to pull into that is I want to get that new XP, which is a new variable right here. New XP. This is going to be of type integer. So compile and save. There we go. And this new XP, I want to append XP to. So it's going to have, I want to use an append node, which is of type string. And it's going to say XP, and then the new XP is going to be the thing that I'm going to put in here. It's going to convert it from an integer. That's what that conversion node is. Nice, nice. And what I want to do is I want to take this and connect it to that. Let me just make sure that's correct. To string. Yeah. There's some conversions. There we go. So that's what it would look like. Something that looks like this. Just make it a little nicer and move these up a little bit. Here. Okay, so this on XP changed event. You're going to say, like, why did I call it on XP, blah, blah. Because remember those delegates? Those dispatchers? This is the reason why I'm doing it this way. Okay, so that's the first one. The other one that I want to do, I want to add another custom event, add custom event for when level changes. So this is where the level changes itself. So on character level, level up event. So on character level up event. There we go. I want another variable in here, which is called new level. New level. And then what this is going to be is very similar to this, where I take the character level label and I want to set text. And then once I've set text, I can connect these two things up like so. There we go. And then what I want to do is I want to get an append node and a toString node, these two things. So copy and paste down here. And instead of it being XP, it's going to say level. So this is going to be level with a space. I'm going to take this, it's going to make a conversion node, which is up here. And then I can kind of put these all on the same line. There we go. And then I'm going to get a conversion node. Actually, I don't need one because this is the conversion node. It's going to convert this to that. And that is your two events. So one is your on XP changed event. The other one is the on character level up event. And what it's going to do is going to update the user interface. So it's going to show level as well as XP. Okay, just in different parts of the screen. Fantastic. Now, the next thing I want to do is I want to, on the on event initialized, so remember that if I type in initialized, that widget blueprints have an initialized event similar to a begin play. That's what they are, right? And then what I want to do here is I want to get the owning player. So get owning player. There we go. And then this owning player, I want to get the player state. So get player state. And I want to cast it as BP underscore MP player state. Cast to BP underscore MP player state. Now we've got an interesting node. It looks like this, okay? And it needs an execution pin that goes in and out. But notice this node does not. This is another kind of node that you can use when we cast. And it's a special node, new learnings today, net new. It's called a pure cast. Okay, so I can click on this thing and I can right click, and if I go to convert to pure cast, what it does exactly what it says here. It removes the execution pins to make the node more versatile. Note, this cast could still fail, resulting in an invalid output. So that's a possibility. But I want to convert it to a pure cast. Okay, so this is where it is. Now when I convert it to a pure cast, I get the new object, that's MP player state, but I also get this success or failure. That's where we can be saved still. This is the success or failure. So with the success or failure, I can use a branch. So this is the way it can be done this way. So this is another way of doing this kind of different things. I want to show you this. Okay, so let's do this, make this all on the same line, and then we can say get the owning player from the owning player, get the player state, convert it to the MP player state we made, and then do this. Now, if it's true, we can continue, but if it's false, then what I wanted to do is add a little bit of a delay. So I can go delay, okay, and I want to talk about why the delay, right? Okay, because it's order of operations. Remember, not everything gets instantiated on in the level all at the same time. It doesn't happen for Unity. It doesn't happen for this stuff either. And we're using an initialized event. Initialized event happens at a different time where sometimes we won't have player state, but we will have the user interface, as an example. Or sometimes it could be the other way around. It really depends on the server and the way things go, right? So remember, especially in a multiplayer game where the server, kind of sends signals and executes things on both the client and the server, it's important to basically make sure that we have certain things in place. So what we want to do here is we want to loop back to the delay. This is kind of an interesting way of looping, which is kind of like an endless loop, right? Just for a second, I want to put this into play. You may have seen these things before, but basically what this is saying is this. Okay, so check to see, can I convert it to empty player state? Does my empty player state exist for each of the players, right? If it does, continue. If it doesn't, go back and check again. That's all. It'll keep checking this branch. Every time we get to this branch actually is a thing that checks this over and over again, right? So it'll keep checking, right, until the player state exists. All right, that's how it works, okay? However, if it does exist, then what we want to do is we want to set the player state. So we can promote this variable, and we want to promote this to a local variable. So again, promote it to a local variable, right? Here it is. And then when we promote this variable, we're going to call this player state. That's what this is going to be called, player state. There it is. Now, notice that we're doing it on event uninitialized. The reason why we can't do it inside of a function is because of this. Every time you see this kind of thing, this little symbol, remember, you cannot put this inside of a function. It will fail. It won't allow you to do it, right? We can put it in a macro. We can do that, right? So we can. One thing we haven't talked about really is macros and what they are compared to functions. They're kind of another way of creating a procedure inside the main event graph without making it an actual function, where it's a you don't call that thing. It's actually, it just creates a macro and it's inside of the main thread. Whereas a function run kind of has its own little space, right? And you can't have a delay or a timer or a bunch of other things inside that thing. Delay is one of those things. So player state is what we've done. We've set the player state, and now that we have that, we can use a little sequence node. Here's our sequence node right here. And the sequence node is going to trigger off these two things. Now, I know this looks big, but I'll talk about it, and I'll explain how this all works. So we want to get player state. So here's player state. Here's player state. And then with player state, I want to bind event to on XP changed. So this is the one we have to do. So we're going to type in bind event to on XP changed. Notice that it has to be like that. So bind event to on XP changed. So that's what the thing is. So this is the binding that I was talking about before, right? The binding for making that a binding to the delegate. The delegate pointed to nothing until now, right? But now we're going to point it, right? So, so player state has this event, right? On XP changed, is the event that I want. This is basically saying player state bind it. What am I binding to? What's the event? Well, I can literally just say create event right here, and this is where I was talking about that the event will be created when I use it, right? And here, what I can do is I can select a compatible function. Well, guess what the compatible function is going to be? One of these. Okay? So let's take a look. So if I select a compatible function, you can see that XP changed. I have this new on XP changed event right here. That's what I just made. And that is right here. This one. And notice that new XP is the parameter, and you can see that new XP is the parameter that looks like here. So what I'm really doing is saying, hey, player state, I want to finally bind your delegate. I want you to point it to something. And the thing that it's pointing to is this. That's what it's doing. Okay? That's what the delegate is doing. Okay, so that's what it's doing. And once I've done that, then I want to get the player state again. Here's a player state, and I want to get XP. Here is the XP from my player state. And what I want to do is I want to call the onXP changed event itself. So call onXP changed. And you're going to say call, okay, what does that mean? Well, I'm actually calling the XP changed event. Notice that this little you know, kind of node right here. This looks like an envelope. And if you hover over, it says call delegate. Okay. First I bind. So this is what I'm binding to. Then I'm calling it, right? So I'm saying, hey, get that XP, and I want to, whatever the XP was, I'm basically evoking, because I'm not changing anything here. I'm not adding to the XP or anything else. It's just a kind of hack where I'm basically evoking the XP changed event. And this happens when, for the first time, I initialize on initialization, right? So basically what I'm doing is I'm saying nothing has changed, right, on initialization, but what I'm doing is I'm manually evoking invoking the event. That's what I'm doing here, right? Because I'm calling it, right? This binds to this, which calls this. Okay? All right. Let's try this again. And now that I've got this part, I want to do the same thing for leveling. Remember, the initialize function is happening only one time. So I want to initialize. I want to change it from my designer, which just says text block. When it first loads, it's going to load up the XP for the first time. That's what this is doing. And it's doing it right here. If I took this away, it would just say, you know, text block until I actually, you know, change things. And then it would change for the first time. So this is almost like for the first time, it's invoking the change. Okay? And it's a way of testing our delegate to make sure it works too. This one is another one we're going to do. Same thing. So I'm going to get the player state. And I want to bind event to on character level up. Okay, same kind of idea. So there it is. And I want to, just like before, I want to drag off here and type in create event. And once I create event, I can select the compatible event that's inside of my event graph. So here I'm going to select the on character level up event. This is the one with the new level. All right, that's what this is. So this binds to this, okay? And it binds the character level up event from the character state, which is these two things right here, these events we made, these event dispatchers. It binds them now to you know, the event that's inside of my user interface. That's what it does. Okay, and then all I need to do is get the player state again. So player state, and instead of level character XP, I want to get level. So character level, and once I get the character level, let's just make sure that they're aligned. I want to call on character level up, which sets my level for the first time. Now, if you're not confused, that's good. If you are confused or you're questioning, like, why do we need this, you know, as an example. So I put in a couple of notes here. So widget cannot receive replicated variables or rep notify callbacks directly. Can't do it, all right? It just won't work properly. It must listen to something that does replicate, such as the player state. Now, you could do it a lot of different ways. You don't have to do it this way, okay? Like, I'm sure if you guys have been playing around with it, I know that other people have, then you could have made it work in a different way, okay? But the right way to do it is to use this pattern. This pattern turns the widget into a listener, right? So basically what's happening is I'm using the observer pattern, and I'm just pointing to the widget that I'm using. So really, the effect of the delegate is where I'm really using it is for user interface. Okay, that's what I'm doing it right now. But we can use it for a lot of other things. User interface, anytime we change something on the user interface, this is a good pattern to use, okay? If that makes sense. Okay, so that is what we want to do. And then now, once we have that, let's add the HUD to the character. So the way that works is, dog treats. Okay, there we go. is we check to see, and this is in the MP character, so we go back to compile, save all. Let's go there. Okay. Now, sometimes what you get is this, where it says there must be a target, and one thing I forgot was that the target is self in this condition, right? Because it says, hey, I don't have a target for you know, this thing at all, right? And I think, did I do this right? Because you may have got this. No, that should be correct. Just gonna, yeah. Yes. Blueprint compiler. It's really interesting because this is totally should work. New XP level. What did I do wrong here? Blah, blah, blah. On XP changed. And then I've got that error when it comes to the character level up. Did I not? Sorry, I just want to make sure that I've got this correct so that we don't have, here we go. Private instance editable, yes, events, it's replicated because we're making these happen. We don't have any advanced things that we're using. It's in the event space, and yeah, this looks pretty good, guys. I don't know. Let's try that again. Sorry, that's weird. That should totally work, and it shouldn't need anything else because, if I'm not wrong, and if you by the way, if you made it work and I didn't, that's totally fine. But pretty sure. So I'm just looking at my previous code here. Event new, yeah, and make sure that this is correct, and that is correct, and then I do this. Yeah, so I say player state. And player state comes from there. Player state is in here. We have a success. It's on an event initialized. That's correct. And player state. Sorry, just checking my code, my friends. This is why I lost remember I lost my slides. Yeah, this is how it goes. I think it looks pretty good. Player state. Let's compile and save and try that again. So maybe I just didn't compile properly. It's just order. So player states and get XP. See if that's true and compile that one. And then if I should be able to call on XP changed event. Yes, I think that's what I think. I use the word call. I don't have to call anything. I can just do it this way. Sorry, that was my mistake. And then the same thing goes here. So player state here, and then I'm going to get character level. There we go, get character level. And then I want to on character level up event. That's the one I want to use. Yep, that's the one. And then that should be good. I think this is the way it would be. Because this is what I want. Okay, new level and new XP, correct? Yes, that's the way. Sorry. Did I do something different over here in my PowerPoint? Because that would be terrible if I did. No, I did it right. All right, so once we have this, now it's compiled. Then inside of the MP character, let's just kill some of this stuff and go back to the event graph for a second. Inside of the MP character function itself, then I want to in the event begin play, I want to add this. So event begin play. After this part, then what I want to do is I want to check to see if is locally controlled. So is locally controlled. And what this does, if you hover over, it says returns true if controlled by a local non-network controller, which is important to do. That means it's not like it's like the local player. Every player is going to have this. If that's true, so it's not the server. We're not affecting the server. If it's just the client only, so branch only for the client is what we're saying, not the server. Then what we want to do is we want to create the the new widget. So create widget, and of class WBP MP overlay. So that's what that does. The only player is this, right? That's what it is. And then we're going to add to viewport. Add to viewport. And now what this will do is if I compile and save and test, we should see each player have their own initial values. And there we go. So that's how it was generated. Level 1 and 0, it was saying text block before. So we know just by doing this that so far it's working just fine. Okay? If this didn't come up, if it said text block, right, then we would know that it's not working at all. And we also see that it's working on both sides. It's here as well as here. Okay, now let's try and get some of these coins. So the main character, or the first character, is going to get some coins and level up. And notice it says XP is 13, levels 2. That's correct. And meanwhile, this character hasn't leveled. And you can see that that's the case. Now if I run over here, and if I pick up some stuff, he's very slow until he picks up some coins and he levels up, which is the new thing. So now he can move faster, and now he's leveled up. And he's leveled up to level 2 as well with 23 coins. Okay, one more little test. Let's try that again. And this time we'll level up this guy completely and not the other one. So we'll pick up all these ones, and you see that he's picked up all the coins, and they're going to level up a lot more. So now he is level 3 with 36 points. Meanwhile, this guy has no level. He's level 1 and he's got 0 XP. Okay, there it is. That is what I want to show you today, guys. You know, which is basically all the replication that you would need in order for you to make things go. And this is pretty much, if you haven't been able to do your property replication, this is a way of doing it. I'm giving it to you so you have everything you need, at least from that perspective, for your assignment 1. Questions around this before we go for the day? I know it's a lot, and everything else. Just keep in mind one thing that I want to let you know again, and I will send an announcement later on today, that tomorrow we're getting together at 12. Whether you're in person in the lab, or whether you stay remote and you're not coming in, 12 o'clock. So it's 12 to 3 tomorrow, not 1 to 4. Okay, hopefully that works for everybody. All right, guys, thank you so much, and I'll stop recording now, and I'll see you guys